So in the next 20 minutes then, I'm going to show you how you can build a consultancy grade market analysis report, complete with time calculations, competitive analysis, customer acquisition costs, and financial projections, all in minutes using AI. So this same report, if you went to one of the big four for it, it costs you 15 to 50K. It'd take about 3 months to produce it. So I'm Dan Reddish, co-founder at AI Wealth Partners. My business partner James has spent 8 years between KPMG and Deloitte building these exact same kind of reports. So here's what we know. Most wealth managers are flying blind. So they pick a niche, say, for example, medical consultants or high-earning business owners, based on gut feel or one or two good client experiences. But then when I ask questions, like in-depth questions about their market, things like what's the market size or how many prospects can you realistically read, or what is the competitive density, or what are the acquisition channels that will work, or what is the lifetime value of the client? A lot of them just typically can't answer. So they're building a business on assumptions, not on intelligence. So what I'm about to show you is how James and I use AI to generate these strategic market reports that normally take a consultant 3 months and, like I say, cost 15 to 50K to produce. So let's go. So over the last few months then, I've done a lot of calls with wealth managers, and I spoke to a guy a couple of months ago who was based in Edinburgh, in Scotland. And so he'd been targeting successful business owners for the past 3 years, I think it was. Decent AUM, but growth had stagnated at 18 mil. So when I asked him why business owners, he said because they've got liquidity events and they need tax planning, it just makes sense. So that's fair enough. But then when I asked what's the total addressable market, what percentage can you realistically capture, what is the cost to acquire a client, what is the lifetime value, and who's competing with them, he couldn't answer one of those questions. So he was spending 3K a month on meta ads targeting business owners in Scotland with no real segmentation, no channel testing, and no economic model. He was just shooting in the dark, just hoping. So here's what happens if you don't have this market analysis, this market intelligence, which most people just don't know to do or can't be bothered to do, can't afford to do it. But it is the kind of foundational piece that, like I say, most people just miss out by just doing this research, spending the time on doing this stuff. It just instantly puts you ahead of most of the competition because most just aren't doing it for various reasons. They waste the budget on other channels because they don't know the CAC benchmarks, which is, better say CAC, it's customer acquisition cost. They undercharge because they don't understand the LTV, the lifetime value. And they chase oversaturated niches like business owners or limited company directors because they never really assess the competitive density of these markets. So going back to the reasons why I think a lot of people in wealth space aren't doing this is because it can be very expensive, say minimum 50K from a consultancy. Another kind of constraint is that it can be time consuming because it can take 40 hours plus to DIY these kind of spreadsheets. And I think another kind of barrier is that it can be a technical process requiring data science skills. So they skip it completely and build strategy on anecdotes and guesswork. But what you need really is a system that generates institutional quality intelligence in under an hour. And that's what this Perplexity AI model does that I'm going to show you now. So Perplexity it's an AI for this specific use case. We're using it for a research assistant that pulls real-time data from multiple authoritative sources and synthesizes it into structured reports. So the pro version, this kind of feature within Perplexity is called Labs. So it's called Perplexity Labs. It does really in-depth. If you do a Google search, for example, it might search, well, it's a shallow search. I'm not sure how many sources it searches as such, but it's a hell of a lot less than what this will, deep research, and it'll search sometimes up to 100 different sources to pull in this data. And not only that, but it'll format it in a really consumable way in interactive dashboards and things, which I'm going to show you in a second. But the stuff that it analyzes and the results that you get back off it, if it's prompted in the right way, are things like TAM, which is total addressable market, ideal client demographics, competitive landscapes, customer acquisition channels and economics, lifetime value modeling, risk assessment, and financial projections. So, like I say, it'll search 80 to 100 plus authoritative sources, stuff like ONS, industry reports, LinkedIn data, financial databases, and regulatory filings. And so it synthesizes patterns across those sources and structures findings into, like I say, an executive-ready report with charts, tables, full citations of every source that it's used to pull in this data, And like I say, really, it's like an app, this interactive dashboard where you can press different buttons to pull in different parts from that data list that I've just mentioned there. It takes about 20 minutes, sometimes up to half an hour to produce these reports, but that's quite reassuring for me because you know it's going to work. And Google search it's there. This stuff, yeah, it takes longer, but I see that as an advantage because you know it's going to work for you. So what I'm going to do now is share my screen and I'll show you how this all looks. So this is an example of a dashboard. This was a dashboard that I did for a mortgage broker client. His market is high net worth LLP in London. This is the result put into a dashboard. I'll show you the full result in a second on the platform. There's all sorts you can click into here. It's got market overview and sizing. There's geographical locations, mortgage need, average property value, average partner income, millionaires in London. There's competitor analysis, private banks, specialist brokers, acquisition channels, strategy, financial projections. So that's what it's suggesting. We could be getting to break even. 187,200 year one revenue target. That's 60 clients at just over $3,000 each. And risk and implementation. So yeah, there's all this kind of gold data really, which is just gives you so much more of a competitive edge over your competitors who are either not doing this yet or, well, probably not using it yet, but they will be doing. So this is where it comes from. This is the source of the information. This is Perplexity. So we give it a prompt. These prompts are quite detailed, quite meaty prompts. With all AI, it's all in the prompting. The more detailed the prompt, the better the results we're going to get. At the end of this, I'm going to give you the opportunity to have your own prompts built by us, crafted dependent on your goals, your specific niche, and obviously for a wealth manager. So yeah, stay around to the end and I'll tell you how we can do that for you. And so this is all the information it produces. So yeah, you can download all this information. It's structured into that dashboard. So that's just another way of consuming that data. And in the next video, I'm going to show you something else, another tool, which is called Notebook LM, which helps you consume this data as well. Because as I say, these reports are quite in detail and 15, 20 plus pages once you download the actual report. But this is all the information that you get from it. And at the end, bottom here, obviously, like I said, you can export that into a PDF. It cites all the sources that it's used. You can click into each of these. So Google search, I don't know how many sources it uses, but it's not scratch on the amount that this deep research tool will kind of cite and search. So it's a very shallow search that you use with Google, but this goes us really deep into the internet. There's all these different sources that it pulls from. So you can check these sources, you can just click into them and it'll pull up the actual web page. So there's all sorts of information on there. That is strategy that is worth a lot of money in terms of getting one of the big four to do that. It'll cost 15 to 50K and it'll take about 3 months. What I'm going to do next then is just show you how we can convert this into a wealth manager situation. Okay, so this is the prompt then that we've engineered specifically for a wealth manager. With this specific example, what I'm going to use is wealth management services tailored to high-income medical consultants in Yorkshire. So we'll just talk you through the actual prompt. As you can see, I think it's 3 pages long, so they're quite in-depth prompts. So this first part then, business context and decision framework. Basically, what we're doing is we're prompting the AI to act as a senior market intelligence consultant, behavioural finance specialist, regional UK economic strategist, and a data visualization expert. The business domain is wealth management services tailored to high-income medical consultants in Yorkshire, UK. So the strategic object is to identify and evaluate viable market strategies to capture, retain, and expand a client base of medical professionals earning 150K plus annually in Yorkshire. We're asking it to deliver insights in an interactive, decision-ready format. Current business understanding, target audience is time constrained, risk aware, and seeks personalised financial planning. Limited penetration by boutique wealth managers in regional medical markets. Demographic growth in high earning healthcare professionals due to NHS private partnership and private sector expansion. Market gaps and opportunity. Lack of personalised profession specific financial advisory offerings. Potential for digital first strategies with local credibility. Underserved geographic macro markets, e.g. North Yorkshire clients, private hospitals, medical associations. Decision impacts, So guide to market strategy, regional investment planning, content, local branding approach, partnership opportunities, and data dashboard, KPIs, and performance tracking. So core business questions and hypothesis. So we've got primary strategic question, working hypothesis, competitive counterparts, strategic framework using Porter's 5 forces, segmentation, targeting, positioning. So we've got market and operational parameters. So target market, we've got competitive landscape, time horizon, got financial constraints, got regulatory environment, got data requirements, ethical and reputational considerations, business output specifications, we've got report architecture. So we're asking it to create a multi-part market intelligence briefing with a strategy deck and an interactive dashboard for scenario analysis, an executive summary, analytical depth, regional business elements, visualization requirements. So like I said, it's going to be a dashboard with filters for sub-regional, persona, income band, product interests, and include waterfall charts for ROI, heat maps, consultant density, and customer journey maps. Target audience, format preference. We've got intelligence hierarchy and quality. We've got quality assurance and strategic validation. Got implementation and continuous improvement. So it's going to review this every 6 months and revise the dashboard indicators, market assumptions, and messaging based on new data, because it's always evolving. So that is the prompt, and then we take that to Perplexity. So when we go to Perplexity, I use their browser, Perplexity Labs. It might look a little bit different, but it's the same generally. You just sign up for an account, and you get a certain amount of these searches for free now. So it's this light bulb. So just paste that prompt, which, like I say, I'm going to show you how we can provide a prompt for you. And you click that light bulb, and then click go. So as I say here, it's gathering the sources now. So it's reviewing 3 sources. 2 steps are completed already. So it's showing 7 minutes, but it usually takes a bit longer than that. It's not very accurate, I don't think. It gets deeper into it. I think it realizes that it's underestimated the time. So yeah, you can see what it's doing. It's now gone on to the next step. And for that next step, it's reviewing these sources. So that's Selective Advisor Institute, unbiased, which is how to set up a financial advisor referral program. So yeah, it's really going deep, and it does it quickly to say how many sources that it does actually review. So it's now starting to generate the actual results here using Python, which is what it does to build the dashboard. So it codes something up for us just like that within this time. So at this point, normally what you do is you walk away, get yourself a sandwich, or crack on with whatever it was that you're cracking on with, and just let this finish. So I'll come back to you in a second when it's done, and we'll review the results that it comes back with. Okay, so the report is now back. There was a couple of things I had to go back to it with, because this is the thing with AI. It doesn't always get the thing that you want it to do exactly right first time. One of the things was my fault. I missed off the focus in terms of target AUM. So what we're going to be doing with these campaigns that we run is always going for minimum of 1 mil in assets to target. So I missed that out in terms of the actual prompt. So we have to have that in the prompt. The target in terms of AUM. Yeah, like I said, 'cause we're always going for high net worth stuff, because it just makes sense to do that rather than just going for the average, because yes, the same amount of energy and effort to generate a lead that's got 200 grand in accounts to one that's got 1 million plus. So we're going for the 1 million plus. And so, yeah, so that was one of the things, and it didn't produce the interactive dashboard. So I went back and asked it to do that, because it didn't do it. So if you do this, and even though it's in the prompt, this is the thing with AI, sometimes you just have to go back to it. So yeah, what I went back to it with. So this is what we've got now. So like I said, this is the report, similar to how I showed you in terms of the mortgage one. It tells you here, for each different stage there, it's got the sites that it's sourced that data from. This is FCA stuff. It's going into regulatory compliance. And this is the client pain point segment. So gone into wealth management for high net worth, how to invest 1 million. So yeah, it shows you all for each individual part what it's the source that it's cited that information from. So this is the report that it's pulled back then. So I said before, this is just an executive summary. So it's got total target market, total addressable average per client. So it's nearly 1.5 mil. A year 3 revenue target, so we've got 198 grand in annual revenue that it predicts from this strategy of targeting this high net worth market. It's got geographical market analysis. This is Yorkshire-based leads. The hub, Sheffield, 394 leads, 516. Other Yorkshire's a lot less. Hull, York, Bradford, Harrogate. Top 3 regions by market size. Leeds is the highest there with 344 consultants. So financial projections. So conservative year 1, average just under £1.5 million. Revenue per client, 9 grand, just over 9 grand. Lifetime value, 5 year, 45 grand. Annual revenue, 72,800 off those 8 clients. So that's conservative year 1. So there's a base case year 2, 18 new clients. Optimistic year 3, 20 clients, 200 grand. It's suggesting, estimating for year 3. So you've got it all on the table here. Client acquisition strategy, existing clients, content marketing, digital marketing, Google, LinkedIn. So that's where we focus. So obviously we should set up things on how to get clients, get referrals as well. Acquisition by channel, digital marketing, LinkedIn, Google, showing that it's higher. So we've got the digital marketing, we've got acquisition by channels, adjusted by CAC, lower is better. CAC is again the customer acquisition cost. 18-month implementation roadmap, that's suggested 28 clients, which in terms of what we do in terms of lead generation, the clients, or to say the appointments that we generate, generally close at about 30%. So it's about 100 appointments over 18 months. So yeah, that's not many if you break it down. So it's showing high confidence there that it's a good market to go for. So we've got all that information, and obviously, yeah, it's just a case of taking that information and not just reading this, but then the next part of it, because I can take the whole report that it's built and put that into something called Notebook LM, which will break it all down and synthesize it even further. So let me be direct about what happens if you don't do this. So right now you're competing against wealth managers who are actually doing this kind of stuff. So they're not smarter than you, they're not more experienced, they just stopped guessing. So while you're running 2K a month Facebook ads open for leads, they're spending 2K a month in the exact channels that cost £300 per client because they've modelled it. And while you might be priced at like 0.75 AUM, because that's the industry standard, they're charging 1.2% because they know the LTV justifies it. So while you're chasing every prospect, they're just targeting this small kind of subsector of a market, which might just have a few thousand people in it. Medical consultants, for example, in that scenario that I showed you with the Perplexity. So the uncomfortable truth then is that in 12 months' time, firms that have market intelligence will be growing at 50 to 70% annually. Firms that don't will be stuck at 10 to 15% and wondering why. This window, this opportunity that we're in at the minute, it won't stay open forever. So maybe at the minute, a small percent, maybe 5% of wealth managers are using AI for this kind of strategic research. But in a couple of years, that'll be 50%. And by then, it won't be a competitive advantage as much as it is now. So the firms that move now, it's still early. I was speaking to a guy the other day and he was saying we're a bit late to the boat now, but I'm like, no, it's not late at all. It's still very early. There's a very small percentage of people that are implementing this kind of stuff right now. But in a year's time, that's going to be a totally different ballgame. So if you want the exact prompt that for you or business, a crafted, tailored prompt for your specific customer profile, then join the community. Like I said, it's free till November the 30th. It's school.com with a K/AI Wealth Partners. I'll drop a link below for it as well. But in there, you'll get, like I said, our full prompt library. You get access to all sorts of training that we've got. We've got the OpenAI course in there. We've got the Claude course in there, which is by Anthropic. There's multiple different tools in there, stuff for productivity, stuff like note takers. There's showing how to use that. This stuff about lead generation, which is the core of our business. Strategies in there, stuff on how to use Sales Navigator for LinkedIn. The next part of this kind of series, if you like, is to create an offer now. Now I've got all this market intelligence, is to create an offer. Just a bit like an elevator pitch as to what you do, who for, and why you are different to everybody else. Just summarizing that in a succinct marketing message. So we show you how to use AI to do that. Now we've got all that intelligence. So if you want to access that, just comment below or just go to school.com/AI World Partners. If you're getting there before the 30th of November, it's free. If you're seeing this after, there will be a monthly charge for it, but it's still worth it. So yeah, it's time now to just stop guessing really and start knowing. And yeah, thank you for your time.